Hi,
Hi there, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so for being so active in the chat. You've been leading from the
No,
front.
it's been amazing watching it. I mean, over £600 now. I mean, surely you can hit 1K by midnight. No
Oh well,
problem.
you've issued the challenge now, so they better get working. So again, I'll probably just start off by asking if you could just have a wee talk about yourself and just introduce yourself to the audience.
Well, I think we'll start. I'm Justine Smithies. I'm transgender out. Uh, my day job, I'm a marine electronics engineer, so I work on fishing vessels, oil vessels, fitting satellite internet, radios, television. Um, and I have done since about 1990.
Brilliant.
I worked for the same company as as Justin before. Uh, I'd gone through life. I knew who I was. How I felt since about the age of 6, 7.
Yep.
Um, I didn't know there were such things way back then, obviously, because there was no internet. Uh, what trans was, I just felt there was something wrong with me because I couldn't, things like football didn't interest me. Playing with dolls with my cousins, that sort of thing did. It was kind of like weird growing up. Schools never had no education, and school I hated it to start with. You had things like sports. I was always told you run like a girl, you throw like a girl.
Hmm.
Um, so that sort of thing. Tried to put things back, the back of your mind and be somebody I wasn't. I
Uh,
mean, most of my life. Sorry,
yep.
one side.
No, yeah. I mean that experience that you've defined. I'm like I've not experienced that, and but you know, trying to hearing it so purely, is quite has quite an impact. Just that not feeling like you can fit in, and of course, you saying that you thought that there was something wrong with you, and of course,
Yeah,
the thing that we're talking about with Ty at the moment is that, like, actually being able to define what these feelings are is one of the main things that Ty's doing.
hmm
I mean, I dare say you can see the benefits that if Ty had been around, back when you were at school, it could have alleviated some of the struggle
it
that
would
you
have
went
made
through.
so much of a difference through life. I mean, going through school. I lived through Section 28 as well, and having somebody like Ty, like a group like Ty, that could have told you, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just as normal as everybody else.
Would
Because
have,
that's how you. Yeah, it would
yeah,
have really helped. I mean, when you think about it, a lot of my life, right up to when I eventually came out in a mad panic when I was about 36, was wasted, really. Even though I did things like I got married, I'm still married to my wife, still love her. I don't regret that. It's just I was not me. So I mean, through my teenage years, and so having something like Ty educating people and telling you, you're not the only person, would have been fantastic.
yeah. And I mean, if there's any questions that I'm asking and I'm stepping over a line, please just say. But from a personal relationships side of things, how
Uh-huh.
what was your feelings upon telling your wife, and like how was she supportive in that transition, if you don't mind me asking?
No, no, go I mean, I work with. I came out with a fisherman, so I don't think there's a question that would scare me now.
Of course.
So coming out to my wife, that was, I mean, things, it'd been putting stuff to the back of my head, acting like everybody expected me to be like this big, beer drinking man, and I think it just wasn't me. And the more I hid it, the older I got, the worse it got in my head, until, well, I would say a few years before I was 36, things started going wrong in the marriage, because obviously I couldn't be me, but I still loved Julie. I was frightened of telling everyone. So it came out one evening. I just blurted out that, I mean, I shouldn't say this, but I blurted out that I was a freak. I didn't know how else to say to her, expecting to lose her, lose my family, my children, my job. People have to live in these places, but I envisioned that I'd be living in a block of flats at the top, and kids would be, throwing things at the door all the time, and that would be me. But luckily, I don't know how, but through nights of sitting up, crying and things like that with each other, we worked it out. And she's been my biggest supporter since.
That's God, right? Yes.
Yeah, I still get a bit emotional when talking about it. I mean,
just hearing it is, I can't possibly try and put myself in that position. The bravery side of things, the courage to, almost put everything on the line.
Yeah,
is admirable.
I mean, a lot of people do say that it's brave, but I don't see it. It's not brave. As far as I can see, it's a choice. I mean, I'd gotten so depressed at that point. It was like, I become me or I die. It had gotten that bad. It was, I mean, I'm not even religious, but that was the moment. It was like, if I die and there is somebody up there saying, well, how'd you do? It's like, I've wasted it. And I didn't want that just in case.
That's powerful stuff, and everyone in the chat is being more than supportive of what they're hearing just now. The only other question before we can aim for a slightly more light-hearted one, but how did the transition? You said you're still working for the same company.
Yep.
How did that go?
Well, I came out to my wife in 2007, and where I work, I have to wear a boiler suit. So before that, I mean, obviously you couldn't get hormones or anything like that to start with. Everything was well hidden underneath jeans and a t-shirt underneath it anyway. I just started growing my hair. But around about 2011, it got to the point for doing my real life. They say at the moment, which is stupid, by law, you have to do like a real life test for 2 years. And you have to keep every piece of documentation. So you've changed your name, you are who you are. So 2011 came, I had to legally tell my boss, by the way, my name's changed. And explain why. And that was the day I was dreading. I mean, I was convinced my job was gone, that was it.
Yeah.
But another surprise, he turned around and says, well, what do we do? How can we help you?
Brilliant.
I was like, that I wasn't expecting. So the only hurdles I did face was the fishermen. And they've been brilliant, but they'd never come across a trans person before.
Right.
And obviously, women weren't working on the fishing boats either. So some of them were a bit standoffish at first because they didn't understand. Whether it was because they thought they'd want to wear a dress, they'd catch something, I don't know. But occasionally they would walk off a boat when I walked onto it. But now, it's true. I mean, the boats, I was banned from going aboard because they didn't want me there, even though my employer stood by me.
Is this the whole superstition thing?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
But saying that, them same people are like changed people now. They help me when I'm with my colleagues on a pier and it's raining, try and get on a boat with equipment. They'll take the equipment from me, leave the other guys on the pier, and make me a coffee. It's changed days. It's like, how are you doing, Justine?
Brilliant. And I mean, that's almost a transition in attitude to themselves.
It is.
I mean, I'm guessing there's been a learning curve on that, but the fact that they're standoffish at first and they're now is business as usual. That's a fantastic transition.
I mean, when there was, I mean, at that period, I wasn't really out to everybody. I didn't want to make a big fuss. I just wanted to be me and get on with it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I got my GRS in 2013 in the May, and obviously, when you get home, you're off work for a couple of weeks. You have to recuperate and look after yourself, your health.
Yeah.
It's quite major surgery, but 2 weeks into my recovery at home, we lost our son 4 days before his 16th birthday in a tragic accident in the village, which meant having to put my health on the line, which is where the papers, the media got hold of a story. Not only has a child lost their life, but one of their parents is trans, and it was like gold dust to them. So, luckily for us, the village, which I thought all hated me because of who I was, stood together and banned the papers from coming anywhere near us.
That's one hell of a community.
It is, and it also gave me the kick up the backside to say, stop being so shy, be open, you're only here once, help somebody else like yourself that was terrified. Go out and stand there and say, it can be okay.
That's incredible. And of course, you've featured in BBC Scotland's piece on transgender love. What did they approach you in regards to that? And I mean, from talking about a sort of predatory media that a community defended you from, to being on BBC Scotland, what was that like?
That was really weird. I mean, we had the guy Benji, who was filming it. He was following us around all over the place, going to work. So having a cameraman following you around and asking people questions and things, it was strange. It didn't even feel natural.
Yeah.
And seeing yourself on TV, and not long after that, I had people from South Korea, from SBS television in Korea, contact me saying,
wow,
I'd like to come and film your family. I was like, no, that's a joke. But they flew like 20 people over with drones and all sorts to come and film us in the village for South Korean television.
That's incredible. So you've gone global.
It's why you couldn't make this stuff up. But the only reason I know I'm no expert, and I can only give my experiences of my life. But if I can help just one person like past me, then it's job done.
Well, I mean, I dare say that you've helped much more than one person. There's lots of people, especially when we're approaching Gender Recognition Act reform. There's a lot of people that will be grateful to be hearing what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I've learned is be yourself. It doesn't matter what you look like, what you sound like. I hate my voice. You can't change things like that, but just be yourself, live your life. You're only here once and you're only going to get one chance. So don't have any regrets.
That's a powerful message to hear. Let's try and bring it up a level. How
Yep.
from a TIE perspective, we're here and we're raising money for a terrific cause, and I think like thinking about inclusive education, you'll be able to you'll recognise exactly where whether it was if the fishermen had originally received inclusive education, there might not have been that learning curve, or anything else like that.
Well, I can give an example of how important it can be, because I've got grandchildren, and one of my granddaughters was at school, and she's about 7, and the teachers gave her into trouble because they were talking about making cards for their grandparents, their grandma and their granddad. And she turned around and said, but I've got 2 grannies. Yes, everybody's maybe got 2 grannies, but you've got a granddad too. No, I've got 2 grannies that live together. And the argument went on, and they weren't having any of it. So even, the work that TIE do is giving teachers the education to teach them.
Yeah,
Some people
absolutely.
have 2 mums, 2 dads. Some people don't even have a mother or father. They've got an auntie.
Yeah.
People are people.
Yeah, and I feel it's so. Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm saying. I mean, it's almost so obvious to us now. But when you hear stories about like that, what teachers are doing and saying, yeah, it kind of makes you question, how how at this point in time, I don't want to use the cliche of it's 2019, but come on, it's it's almost like it
No,
should be a
I know
thing.
we are progressing, but there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, I mean there was a guy John in the chat earlier who was talking about how he's one of the Thai trainers.
Yeah,
So he
John's
was
lovely. He does amazing
he
work.
Yeah, and he just he trained 300 teachers in inclusive education. And if you think 300 teachers, how many pupils and students are they gonna go through in like over the course of 5 years? It could be just
Hmm.
phenomenal amounts.
And like some of the people have said in the chat this evening, I've been watching. The more people that get educated and they grow up and they educate their children, it's just going to go on and on and on until there'll maybe come a point, hopefully, maybe in my lifetime, maybe not, where people won't need educating about this. It'll just be second nature.
Yeah, it'll just be the norm, and in a way we're doing work. Ty's doing work to put them out of work.
Yeah.
So from again, I've asked nearly everyone this question, but we're getting a lot more diversity in sort of entertainment across films and TV series and games and stuff like that. What would you like to see be included more in these shows? Because there's shows like I think Orange is the New Black being one. There's stuff on like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and I dare say that there's numerous others that I've forgotten and are totally escaping me right now. But what would you like to see on a sort of inclusion front, and on a not just the actors and the characters they play, but also behind the scenes, the writers and the people involved in creating the content?
Yeah, well, I mean, like writers, there are plenty of trans writers out there, but more trans representation. And like a lot of people have said already, not making a big thing about it, saying, oh, this program, we've got this trans actor and that trans person. Just them being there, like in real life, you walk down the street and you probably walk past about 3 or 4 trans people and you wouldn't even know. Just that sort of thing. Only watching that program, you sit there and say, well, that, like Steve, I think Steph said, was it that, yeah,
Hmm.
that, well, seeing that person on the screen, you can think, well, that's me.
And
There's somebody else like me. And
that's interesting. I mean, it's interesting to consider the role almost technology's had on this sort of movement, and just sort of the advancement of LGBT rights. People are actually being they might arrive late to the scene or whatever, but like there's a lot more research that's publicly available purely online about these issues. People are able to see that there are people like them.
oh,
um,
yeah, I mean, the only time I saw things like that when I was growing up, and this was pre-internet, you'd see newspapers where it just made a mockery of people, trans people. You'd see headlines like, you know, tranny, blah, blah, blah. Right, and that was used
like
to make me
proper
cringe when I
bile.
was growing up. Yeah, that used to make me cringe. I felt sick. It's like I don't want to be that person, even though in my head I knew that was going to be me. That was going to be my life. So yeah, it's amazing the amount of resources they've got nowadays.
Yeah, and while we've we're sort of we're working our way through on a sort of global culture thing, it's amazing that a lot of the arguments that are being used right now regarding Gender Recognition Act, you can put right into the exact same type of language used in Section 20.
Hmm. You can. It's exactly the same. It's just things going around full circle, just a different subject.
Yeah, and the worst thing would be that there's another stage of this. If the Section 20 and there's a language used against homosexual people, and then just now with trans, I would hate to think that there's another escalation of this. But we'll
No,
hope.
I,
Well, we're
I
we're fighting for
will
it.
get there. Yeah, we
And
will get there. I mean, the media plays a lot in this, making things seem worse than they really are. I've seen that. I mean, it is bad, but it's not as bad. They blow things out of proportion than sort of scaremonger, I would say. whip people up into a panic about, trans people sharing your toilets. It's like they've been doing it for years and you just haven't known. No one's caused a problem.
Yeah.
It's just they make issues out of nothing.
Yeah, and it is. It's inventing issues to sell papers, and that's that's kind of where we're at, unfortunately, with global media that are fighting for clicks rather than people buying newspapers.
Yeah.
So one of the things is what would you like to see TIE do in the future? And I know that's quite an open-ended question, or like what are you looking forward to doing with TIE in the future? But where do you see the next evolution of TIE going?
I hope to see them in schools all over Scotland. I mean, to have more teacher training, especially up here, this neck of the woods, Aberdeenshire, the Highlands, all that sort of area. It'd be amazing to see them at all the local schools around here.
Brilliant.
I think a lot of the work, I know it's hard, but a lot of the work gets done Central Belt, and everything seems to stop when you come, north of the Central Belt.
Yep. Well, I mean, we're hoping from a fundraising point of view, to be the ability to keep the resources free for everyone is key, and then of course if we're able to, get more teachers trained, or deliver more workshops, etc. We can scale it up hugely.
Definitely.
And
anybody's listening, dig deep now. Dig deep now. Make a donation. Help TIE.
Yeah, we can definitely make a difference on that side of things. If you don't mind, I'll ask you one last question.
Yep.
And it's the one that I've asked everyone. But what do you think of the potential for? Let's say there's a listener out there who's in Canada, and they want to start a TIE group. And what do you think of the potential for them just getting in touch with TIE and learning from the resources and creating their own, TIE Canada, and just expanding it?
I think there's massive potential. I think if there are people like that, get in touch with Jordan, Liam, get in touch with the rest of the team. I mean, I'm sure we'd all love to see the TIE campaign global, not just in Scotland. I mean, Scotland are world leaders in LGBT rights, but I'd love to see them going global. Like you said, Canada, if somebody phones up and says, we'd like more information, how do we do exactly as you are doing in Canada? Brilliant. Bring it on.
Fantastic. And of course, because the TIE have the experience of approaching a public body, the Scottish Government, and actually speaking to and delivering and getting the Scottish Government on board with the idea. If any group out there can learn how to do that from them, then we can change the world. Not to sound too cliche, but we absolutely can.
No, we will. Not we can.
Yeah,
we will.
We will. I like that. That's way more upbeat and positive. We will change the world. So if you're listening, folks, we can still reach that 666 donation, the one that I'm really after.
Get us to 1k by midnight.
Get us to 1k by now. You've got less than 2 hours, so the challenge has been issued.
Take out loans, dig deep.
Brilliant. I would love to thank you so much for coming on, Justine. It's been terrific having you on.
For what you're doing as well.
Thanks for giving such a powerful and emotional story. There's people talking about crying in the chat, so and that's all your handiwork. So well done.
Oh, thank you, and sorry everyone.
No, it's perfect. Please, obviously, get a good night's sleep, but please hang around in the chat because you're a thrill to have, and you can answer any questions they might have after as well.
Yep, I'll definitely be back on the chat, so if anyone's got any questions, fire away.
Absolutely magic. Thank you very much for speaking, and hope to see you soon.
Okay, thank you.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This is one speaker after another is gonna kill me, kill me emotionally. Right, I believe that there is the opportunity to put up a cat screen for a bit because I need to go for another pee, and I'd like to do that before we've got our next speaker. So I'll try and mute the mic so you don't hear my toilet flush this time. See you in a wee second, folks.